And the Juno goes to The Weeknd!
For me, and for the sake of music, to make some motherfucking noise for this nigga right here, The Weeknd.
Abel McCoonan Tessafa, better known as The Weeknd, was born on 16 February 1990 in Toronto, Canada. The only child of Ethiopian immigrants, he was raised in Scarborough by his mother and grandmother, surrounded by Ethiopian culture, language and the music. But his journey was far from ordinary. As teenager, Abel dropped out from his high school and moved into an apartment Toronto Parkdale neighborhood with his two friends. One of them being Lamar Taylor, his best friend and future creative director.
Lamar Taylor, my best friend, I convinced him to drop out of high school with me. Now he's my creative director and I hope there's no regrets at this point.
Their lifestyle, raw, reckless, and fueled by ambitions. At some point, Abel decided to reinvent himself. He left home for a weekend and never went back. That's how The Weeknd was born. To avoid the legal trouble with a Canadian pop rock band of the same name, he simply dropped the last T, and just like that, a new era began. By day, he worked at clothing store, barely making ends meet, and by night, he roamed the city, crashing on couches, writing music, and spiraling into a world of drugs and escapism. He experimented openly ketamine, cocaine, MDMA, and magic mushroom, even cup syrup, not just to escape reality, but to fuel his creativity.
So she's so lovely right here.
Yo,
She's so lovely.
she's so lovely, man.
She's so lovely.
You know what it is. Check it out. She's so lovely.com, man.
Let them know what time it is.
The SSL.
Let's see the acapella.
Who could have imagined that this young man who lost an addiction, drifting through the shadows of Toronto, would one day redefine R&B and captivate the world?
Your body wants it. I know your thoughts. Oh, you got it. You're a big girl, and it's your world. And we can do the magic like you wanna get alright with it.
In August 2009, Abel and his friends started making music, anonymously uploading their tracks online. Slowly, their sound began to evolve. Dark, raw, and different, the early buzz was building, setting the stage for Weeknd's signature style. Then, in 2010, everything changed. At a party, Abel met producer Jeremy Rose. After hearing him freestyle over a beat, Rose had an idea. He wanted to create dark, moody R&B project with Abel as the voice. They logged in, recording the multiple tracks, and now Abel was ready to drop the music. But with one condition. Rose wanted production credits. In December 2010, 3 songs appeared on YouTube: What You Need, Loft Music, and The Morning. The uploader with a cryptic username. The music was different, dark, seductive, and a blend of moody production, sluttery R&B melodies, and lyrics drenched in lust, heartbreak, and escapism. It felt raw, mysterious, and addictive. Yet, no one knew that who was behind it. No face, no name, just hauntingly unique sound.
I think we went on for about almost a year with no pictures. Everyone's like, yo, who is this guy? Who's The Weeknd? How does he look?
Years later, he said this in an interview.
I was insecure. I hated how I looked in pictures. I just fucking hated this shit. Like, crop me out of this picture right now. I was very camera shy.
At the beginning of my career, because nobody knew how I looked as well. It was because of, Daft Punk and a lot of artists that like to be enigmatic and mysterious. And fans didn't really see how I looked until my first show.
The song started gaining traction online. Then, a major cosign changed everything. Drake took notice, shouting The Weeknd out in the blog post, calling him an artist with the potential to be top tier. Suddenly, industry was paying attention. Pitchfork and the New York Times. The buzz was real. The Weeknd wasn't just an underground mystery anymore. He was an artist to watch. Then came in 2011. That year, Abel met music executive Wasim Sal-Slaby and Amir Kaz Islamian alongside his best friend Lamar Taylor. They built something bigger. EXO. This wasn't just a label, it was a movement of a new era. And behind the scenes, Abel made a life-altering decision. No more drugs, no more distraction, just the music. On March 21st, 2011, Weeknd released his debut mixtape, House of Balloons, a hypnotic of dark themes, haunting melodies, and genres blending production. It felt like something completely new. Behind the sounds were Elangelo and Doc McKinney, but some tracks were produced by Jeremy Rose, who remained uncredited. The impact was immediate, fans were hooked, and critics took notice. House of Balloon wasn't just another mixtape, it was a statement. It even landed a spot on 2001 Polarized Music Surprise shortlist, solidifying The Weeknd as a force to watch.
I'm the drug in your veins, and just fight through the pain. He's what you want, he's what you want, he's what you want, he's what you want. I'm what you need, what you need, what you need.
In May 2011, The Weeknd started closely working with Drake, a partnership that would push his career to next level. By now, House of Balloon had solidified him as an artist to watch, and the industry was paying attention. But one question remained: could he bring that haunting or hypnotic sound to the stage? On July 31st, he got chance to prove it. Drake invited him to perform at OVO Fest, one of the biggest music event in Toronto. For the first time, Weeknd wasn't just mystery behind the screen. He was right there in front of thousands. As soon as he sang, the energy shifted. The mystery, the voice, the presence. The world wasn't just listening anymore. They were watching. And The Weeknd was here to stay.
Some of you might know, some of you might not know, but I hadn't left Toronto for like 21 years, man. I stayed home. First time ever on a plane was like my first tour a couple years ago.
I want you right now, for me, and for the sake of music, to make some motherfucking noise for this nigga right here, The Weeknd. It's my brother right here.
Fresh off his OVO Fest debut, The Weeknd kept the momentum going. On August 18, 2011, he dropped his second mixtape, Thursday, darker and more experimental. It pushed the boundaries and earning widespread acclaims. The mystery deepened, the buzz grew, and The Weeknd was just getting started. A standout from Thursday, Heaven or Las Vegas wasn't just a song, it was a confession or a glimpse into a Weeknd's world of sin, salvation, and self-destruction. The tracks opens with chilling admissions. I am paying for all my father's sins, a reference to an biblical punishment.
You shall not bow down to them or worship them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, punishing the children for the sin of the parents to the third and fourth generation, for those who reject me.
But also something deeply personal. He had explored this before in Sidewalks, hinting at how an absent father shaped the reckless path he walked.
Well, I say, I am God.
Then comes out the chorus, two extremes, heaven and the Las Vegas. Those around him chase salvation and looking for something pure. But he knew the truth and there is no escape. Instead, he becomes their god and one who supplies their desire, pulling them deeper into the illusion and heaven or Las Vegas. Peace, indulgence, salvation and destruction. With Thursday, The Weeknd wasn't just making the music, he was telling a story, and this was just a beginning. As Weeknd's influence grew, so did his collaboration. On November 15, 2011, he contributed to 4 tracks on the Drake's second studio album, Take Care, a project that also marked the first collaboration between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. And to this date, well, we all know where the relationship stands today. But one more track stood out, Crew Love. Co-written, produced, and featuring The Weeknd. The song wasn't just a collaboration, it was an introduction, signature sound, moody, atmospheric, hypnotic, and was now reaching millions. The OVO EXO movement was born, and suddenly, Weeknd voice was everywhere.
Get the ball rolling, yeah, got these in the trust me going street to town. Rooftop clubs with a handful of girls and they are so fun. Brains so poison, rainbows flowing, lights catching, first light from.
He wasn't done yet. On December 21st, 2011, he closed the year with his statement, his third mixtape, Echoes of Silence. Darker, sharper, more refined. It proved that The Weeknd wasn't just an rising artist, he was setting the stage for something bigger. The mixtape even landed on 2012 Polarized Music Prize long list and further cementing his place in music. With Echoes of Silence, The Weeknd was no longer just underground, he was rising fast. In September 2012, he signed with Republic Records, bringing EXO under its wing, and that same month he launched The Fall 2, captivating audience with his haunting performance. On November 13, he took his sound mainstream with Trilogy, a remastered collection of his mixtape plus 3 new tracks. It debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200 and went platinum and cemented its place in music. With momentum off his side, he earned the BBC Sound of 2013 nomination.
Bring it cup, baby, I could bring the drink. Bring your body, baby, I could bring you fame. That's my motherfucking word too. Let me motherfucking love you. I'll give you all I got. Give me confidence. I need confidence in myself.
And drop his first music video from Thursday, adding visuals to his ever-growing mystique, alongside an open letter including an explanation for the music video imagery. As Weeknd stepped into the mainstream with Trilogy, he faced a turning point. One of his most symbolic videos captured this moment in a dimly lit studio, half in darkness, half in light. A woman slowly undressed behind him. He later explained its meaning. The studio represents two worlds, his underground roots and the mainstream industry. The woman symbolized his fans, and as he became more famous, their fascination with his mystery faded. The imagery was so powerful that he made it the Trilogy cover, a visual reminder of the price of the fame. With Trilogy, The Weeknd had finally made it, but fame came with the price. The mystery that once surrounded him was fading. The underground world he loved was slipping away. Still, his music stayed raw and powerful. He wasn't just making R&B, he was changing it. His mix of dark beats, moody vocals, honest storytelling created a new style, dark R&B. Despite a tough childhood, no stable home, a natural shy personality, he didn't let this struggle to hold him back. Instead, he turned the pain into the music, inspiring a new generation and reshaping R&B forever. The world was finally listening, but Weeknd was just getting started.
The only thing R&B about my shit is the style of singing. My inspiration is R. Kelly, Michael Jackson, and Prince for the vocal anyway. My production and songwriting and the environment around those vocals are not inspired by R&B at all.
I don't care for you, but you be older, and I don't wanna see you. Oh, you.
On May 17, 2013, The Weeknd released the title track of his debut album, a project that captured both excitement and isolation of fame. When the album dropped, it debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 and selling 96,000 copies. But while critics praised its ambitions, some felt it lacked the spark of his mixtape, too focused on storytelling and not enough on the music. Looking back in Xikey interview, he admitted that it was more about the idea. It was a lesson he wouldn't forget.
I think by the time I got to Kissland, I was definitely emotionally trapped out. I did 3 albums in 1 year, plus I was working on Take Care too. And me not fully transitioning into a full-on pop star yet, I was kind of in a middle ground. And I feel like Kissland was that. It was a very honest album. It was a lot of me being stubborn, of not letting a lot of input in. I think people were confused. It wasn't that it was a bad music. I think people were just confused as much as I was.
For years, Weeknd remained a mystery. Fans were captivated by his music, but knew little about the man behind it. Then, out of nowhere, he finally spoke. Complex magazine released his first ever full-length interview, offering a rare glimpse of his mind and creative process. For the first time, the world got to hear his story from the man himself. I felt like I had nothing to say. I still feel I have nothing to say. I'm the most boring person to talk to. Honestly, I want to do interviews now because it's one thing that I haven't mastered. A lot of it inspired by a filmmaker like John Carpenter, David Cronenberg and Ridley Scott because they know how to capture fear. That's what Kissland is to me, an environment that just honors fear. I don't know who I am right now and I am doing all these outlandish things in these settings that I'm not familiar with. To me, is that most terrifying thing ever. So, when you hear the screams in the record, you'll hear all these horror references. You'll feel the scare listening to the music because I want you to feel I am feeling Kissland, like it's a horror movie. There are 2 ways of making music for me. There's a calculative route, like I know exactly what I am going to do with songs, and there's a free mind. There was one of the free-minded records. It was all subconscious. I'll make the music first and loop it. Then I'll go into an booth and start singing almost 55 seconds straight. And these are not words, these are garbage. It's in songwriter language. There are lyricism on Thursday. I don't even know what the fuck I said. Gone was complete freestyle. In 2014, Weeknd started making waves beyond his own music. He put his signature dark twist on Beyonce Drunk in Love and teamed up with Ty Dolla $ign and Noah, proving his sound could elevate the mainstream hits. Then, in June, he announced his King of the Fall tour, giving fans a taste of his electrifying stage presence. But in August 25th, he duet with Ariana Grande, Love Me Harder, and became the massive hit, climbing on number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100 and introducing him to an even wider audience. But the moment that truly defined his rise was 23rd December. That's when he dropped Earned It from 50 Shades of Grey soundtrack, a haunting orchestral ball that captivated the world. It shot up to number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and earned him his first Academy Award nomination and won the Best R&B Performance at the Grammy. With Earned It, Weeknd has officially crossed over. He wasn't just an underground sensation anymore. He was a global superstar.
The way 'Cause girl, you worth.
You're always worth it. And you deserve it.
You have the voice of an angel.
The way you work it.
According to Genius, lyrics to the song play as a lead character Anastasia pleases Christian's desires in the bedroom, begins her journey to reap all the benefits of his rich and powerful lifestyle. The Weeknd sings, "'Cause girl, you're perfect. You're always worth it. You deserve it the way you work it. 'Cause girl, you earned it." Steamy, right? Despite its BDSM meaning, "Earned It" still stands as the Weeknd's only #1 adult R&B airplay single, The Weeknd Told.
Then, in 2015, the world witnessed the rise of the superstar with Beauty Behind the Madness. With hits like Can't Feel My Face and The Hills, The Weeknd has no longer just mysterious artist, he was a global phenomenon.
You know, when you can feel it, I feel it coming, like my boy Abel. I feel it coming.
With a Beauty Behind the Madness, The Weeknd reached new heights. His first #1 album, multi-platinum status and Grammy win. But beneath the success lay a deeper story. I Can't Feel My Face, he performed for a lifeless crowd until a mysterious figure set him on fire. Suddenly, he is a star, but at what cost? By Tell You Friend, he buries his older self, believing he is in control. Yet, in the hills, he stumbles from the car wreck and face to face with the same sinister figure he can't escape. Then, in Starboy, he kills his Beauty Behind the Madness persona, destroying his past with glowing cross. But in I Feel It Coming, time passes, Daft Punk find the cross and still intact, hinting that his transformation is never ending. This level of storytelling goes beyond lyrics. The Weeknd crafts an intricate visuals and thematic journey, seamlessly blending music, symbolism, and cinematic storytelling to explore the dark side of the fame.
I can feel my face when I'm with you. But I love it. But I love it. She'll be the death of me, at least we'll both be numb.
By 2016, Weeknd was already a superstar, but he was ready to evolve again. With Starboy, he introduced a new persona, bold, futuristic, unstoppable. The album wasn't just music, it was a statement. He teamed up with Daft Punk, Kendrick Lamar, Lana Del Rey, and The Future, creating a sound that was fresh, electric, and impossible to ignore. The title track Starboy took over the charts, jumping from number 40 to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. As of 2023, it's certified diamond, proving The Weeknd wasn't just an artist anymore, he was a culture icon. By 2019, Starboy had gone triple platinum, and at the Grammy Award, it won the Best Urban Contemporary Album, giving The Weeknd his second Grammy in the category. Then came 2018, The Weeknd shifted gears again. He stepped away from the neon glow and returned to the raw, emotional sound that made fans fall in love with him in the first place. February 2, he joined Kendrick Lamar for Pray From Me, dark cinematic track from Black Panther. On March 30th, he surprised the world with Dear Melancholy, a heartbreaking EP that debuted at number 1. 18 April, he teamed up with SZA and Travis Scott for Power's Power, a battle-ready anthem inspired by Game of Thrones. No matter the era, Weeknd kept proving one thing. He wasn't following the trends, he was setting them.
There are only two artists, and I won't name the second one. I want to so bad, but then I know I'm gonna have a bunch of artists trying to go. Matter of fact, I should just say it. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it. There are only two artists that I know saved my life. that made me made me the mind I am. Well, there's more artists, but there's the dominant ones. That's Kurt Cobain and The Weeknd.
Why The Weeknd?
And not the current Weeknd. You have to go listen to his old shit. Like because I don't really elaborate on who I listen to, because I take pride in what I listen to, because I use it for me. If you go listen to, like, all right, he has an album called Trilogy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before the Trilogy album came out, he had his mixtapes. There were mixtapes. There was House of Balloons, there was Thursday, and there was Echoes of Silence. He basically took the mixtapes, remastered them, added like 3 tracks, made them into an album and called it Trilogy. Now, the original, before, because the remaster sounds different, but it's just as good. Don't get me wrong, it's just as good to a degree. This is music I was listening to get outside of my mind. This is music I was listening to help me. And the subject matter is a bit different, but the energy behind it was real.
You think so? You know, I know exactly what you're talking about, but I'm trying to think of the energy. A lot of times when The Weeknd was on, even Thursday, I remember listening to like some of the songs on there, and I was like, it feels like it was detached. Like he was singing about like being kind of almost emotionless, especially like dealing with women. You know what I mean? Like it
was contradictory.
He didn't care. You know what I mean?
It was contradictory, but it was numbing.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was the good thing about it, because it spoke. Look, the words didn't have to speak to you. It was the energy, because it spoke to your soul. It touched your soul. Mm-hmm. It numbed your soul. It helped your soul get through shit.
Okay.
It kept everything quiet. It made you be okay with like being in a room by yourself.
In November 2019, Weeknd launched a new era. First came Heartless, debuted at 32 before soaring to number 1. Then, just 2 days later, Blinding Lights arrived and history was made. It spent a full year in Billboard Hot 100, Top 10 and charting for 90 weeks, and in 2021, Billboard named it the greatest Hot 100 songs of all time. By 2023, it became the most streamed songs in the Spotify history and cementing The Weeknd as the global icon. But After Hour was more than an album. It was a cinematic experience. Dressed in a blood-eyed red suit, The Weeknd blurred the line between music, film and reality, crafting a dark, neon-lit world inspired by Casino and Joker. The album debuted at number 1 with 444,000 units sold, his biggest opening yet. Critics call it masterpiece, fusing synthwave, R&B and electronic music. But then, the shock of the decade. After Hour got 0 nominations. Weeknd called the awards corrupt and vowing never to submit his music again. Yet, the numbers spoke louder. Blinding Lights became the greatest Hot 100 song ever. And in 2021, he headlined the Super Bowl halftime show, investing $7 million of his own money to create heart-taking cinematic spectacles.
Rumor has it you invested quite a bit of your own money into the halftime show. Tell me, what does $7 million buy you at Raymond James Stadium?
Well, honestly, it was tough to bring the vision to life with what we had at the time. You know, we really wanted to be safe. We really thought about the players and the workers, so we built the stage within the actual stadium.
You donated meals to frontline workers. You've been honoring Black-owned restaurants. Can you talk a little bit about why that was important for you to do that?
I mean, I see that people are struggling, and I just want to help. I've been in that position myself, and I know what it feels like. You know, I never really had money growing up, so giving away isn't hard for me. It's very easy.
Weeknd wasn't just a musician anymore. He was a visionary reshaping music and pop culture, and his journey was far from over.
After Hours are done, and the dawn is coming.
After the massive success of After Hours, Weeknd returned to something unexpected. Dawn FM. Released on 7 January 2022, it wasn't an album, it is an experience. Inspired by life, death, and transcendence, Dawn FM played out his surreal radio broadcast, guiding listener through purgatory and his legendary actor Jim Carrey as a narrator. The sound, a hypnotic mix of synthwave, new wave, and electronic pop. Unlike the dark, hedonistic theme of After Hours, this album was deeply introspective, a journey of regret, mortality, and redemptions. Upon the release, Dawn FM debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 with 148,000 units sold. It didn't reach the After Hours success. There was a minimal promotion, a big surprise drop, and no physical copies at launch. But its impact is undeniable. By February 2023, Weeknd became the first artist to surpass 100 million monthly listeners on Spotify. Critics praised it as a bold vision and sonic innovation. It may not have a radio hits like Blinding Lights, but it proved one thing. The Weeknd wasn't just making music, he was telling stories, pushing boundaries, and reshaping the sound of pop. Weeknd Hurry Up Tomorrow isn't another album. It is the closing chapter of Trilogy that began with After Hour and Dawn FM. Blending R&B, synth pop, and hip hop, the album carries the sense of urgency, shaped by the personal crisis in 2022 when Weeknd lost his voice in mid-performance. That moment forced him to reflect and theme of the time, identity, fate run deep. With collaboration from Anita, Travis Scott, Lana Del Rey, and the album debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200, earning widespread acclaims for its storytelling and emotional depth. But is this truly an? If After Hour was chaos, Dawn FM was a reflection, Hurry Up Tomorrow feels like resolutions, but not necessarily closure. Fans wonder, is this Weeknd farewell or the start of something new? One thing is clear. This trilogy redefined music, blending sound, visuals, and storytelling like never before. As the final notes fade, one question lingers. What comes next?
It becomes this rat race, more accolades, more success, more shows, more albums, more awards, and more number ones. It never ends until you end it.
Take off my disguise. I'm living someone else's life.
The Weeknd journeys prove that true artistry has no limits. From mysterious voice in the dark to one of the biggest artists in the world. He has constantly evolved, pushing boundaries and reinventing himself through heartbreak and success and self-discovery. His music has told a story that millions relate to. But more than just breaking records or top charting, The Weeknd has creating something deeper, music that makes us feel, stories that stay with us, and movement will never forget. The trends will never change, new artists will rise, but legend, they leave a mark that never fades. No matter what comes next, The Weeknd's impact will live on forever.
It's a headspace. I've gotta get into that. I just don't have any more desire for.
I want to thank my fans who've been with me from day one. The downtown life, growing up in Scarborough with my mom, who I put through hell, but she's my biggest inspiration. Thank you, Mom. Appreciate it.
But I'm curious to know, what would you tell your 17-year-old self who left home, moved into a small apartment with a friend? You know, eventually that young Abel was going to become the Super Bowl halftime star. You've accomplished so much. What would you tell that kid?
Don't quit.